It has the potential to be one of the best seasons in the 13 years of the Bridgestone GR86 Championship. A very close field indeed. Lots of names that could become stars of the future. So why don't we meet one of them right now?
I'm Cam Hill, I'm 18 from Auckland. I got into motorsport through my dad. He's always been in a car and in racing cars, so kind of just took me under his wing. My biggest support has been my mum and dad, definitely. They do so much for me. Can't do it without them, really. My biggest success in motorsport so far has been winning round 2 of GR86, the overall and rookie. My ambitions in motorsport is to make the V8 supercars one day, and yeah, win it. My biggest idol in motorsport is SVG, because he does big burnouts. The best circuit in New Zealand to race is probably Highlands. It's just really fun. There's a jump too. Racing in the GR86 series is very competitive, but very fair at the same time, and it makes for good racing.
He'll turn 18 in December, the Northland Toyota driver. We take a look at some of the cars as they make their way down toward turn 2. It is the new generation. We first saw them as a part of this series in 2024, 2025, Ronan, but this generation, we're talking about 220 plus horsepower. They are a cult car, a very cool car, aren't they?
Yeah, still that 4-cylinder boxer engine in these cars, just a little bit more displacement, a little bit more horsepower, which in turn has also made them a bit quicker than the previous generation cars. So great to see these cars being wheeled by 15 bright talents out there, and it's I can't wait for this one, Rusty.
Toyota GAZOO Racing globally have 86 series in all sorts of different countries. Some of them do have their own unique touch, and it is that way here in New Zealand. We've seen some great champions come out of this class. They've had the opportunity, courtesy of the prize package, which is typically in the vicinity of about $100,000, to go and experience maybe some GT4 racing, ADAC GT4 in Germany, for example, maybe a test in a supercar across the other side of the ditch. We look at the grid for you for the opening race. This was determined by the second fastest lap from qualifying. So Chris White for Neil Motorsport did a super job. 2 very consistent laps from him. Hugo Allen, the reigning champion, will start beside him on the front row. That's a good story. Arthur Braun actually has pole for our final race of the weekend. He did a ripping job there in qual.
He did, and he had a 10.5 gap, which in Toyota 86, Bridgestone Toyota 86 terms, that's a huge gap. So he did a brilliant job. So we see there Lee Zaltwanger, so he's in the Corvette's car, which our reigning champion Hugo Allen was in last year. He's there in P7. Harry Townsend there in P8, and he did a great job to be P5 for the final race. Cormac Murphy, Lucas McGill, our Tony Quinn Foundation Scholarship winner and Wolfbrook Foundation Scholarship winner there in P14, and Justin Allen there rounding up the field. Should
make the point, it is the first ever car race for Lucas, who's won that scholarship, and among others, and is stepping up this weekend from karts. We wish him well. Great to have him here and have that talent being recognised on the pathway. And a little footnote just in relation to Syndicate Motorsport. Had a word before the start of this race to Justin Allen. He was a little frustrated. They had some sort of glitch with the timing equipment in that car, with the transponder. He's got to start from the rear of the grid. Obviously, he's copped that on the chin, but he feels like, Ronan, that car was good enough for maybe the 4th row.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, there was a bit of an issue for both the Syndicate cars in qualifying, so they're starting a little bit further back than they'd like, but definitely going to be interested to watch the progress of Cormac Murphy and Justin Allen and see where they can end up. Hugo Allen's there off the front row. I was talking to him after qualifying, and he said he was a bit frustrated. He felt like he had a car and good enough for pole. He just didn't quite put it together, but the positive out of that is he's starting second for both this race and the final race.
Arthur Braun moves his car into position. Just 16 years of age. You'll hear the boxer engines start to rise. It's the beginning of a brand new season in Bridgestone GR86. We are underway for what is going to be an epic summer in this class. They'll go into one for the first time, and White Jr. will lead them. Everyone looks like they've started this one cleanly.
Hugo Allen also got a good start off the front row. Arthur Braun, our pole sitter for tomorrow, he had to defend from Josh Bethune in the number 32 right cuts by M2 competition car, and they got Zach Blinko in the number 90 going down the outside of him. A bit further back, the rest of the field gathers up. We come down into turn 2. Lee Zaltwanger there going around the outside of AJ Giddy. Cormac Murphy, Justin Allen, and then Lucas McGill rounding out the field. It's coming into turn 3 for the first time. So far, it's been really clean. Everyone's keeping it nice and straight. Coming into turn 4.
White Jr. now driving for Neil Motorsport. New outfit, strong combo on Friday. They were fastest in sessions 1 and 2 here at Hampton Downs. He was the Rookie of the Year last season, winner of the Tony Quinn Foundation Shootout the previous year in 2024.
Yeah, exactly right. And we see there, White Jr.'s actually pulled out a little bit of a margin. We see there in the background, Cormac Murphy and Mac Templeton having a good battle. Harry Townsend's defending, going down there into turn 5 with Simon Hunter there just in front of those guys. Lee Zelltwanger side by side with Cooper Barnes. We come down into the Porsche Dipper for the first time. Arthur Braun's gathered himself up, and he's now in third behind Hugo Allen, with Josh Bethune right up behind those guys.
Chris White proving really handy on the cold tyres. He is not afraid to lean on those awesome Bridgestones at all, and he's made good ground here from the start of this race. The gap says 0.3 at the last timing split, but I reckon it's even bigger than that.
Yeah, Chris White running for Neil Motorsport there under Andy Neal, doing a great job out the front. Hugo Allen's under a bit of pressure from Arthur Braun, the pole sitter for tomorrow, so it's the reigning champ, number 1 on the doors of that car, and he's got Arthur Braun trying to go down the inside, and that might lead to a bit of contact there.
Great racing. I reckon Braun's made that stick, so perhaps just the intimidation of diving down the inside. Allen knows what it takes to stitch a championship together. You can't afford in race 1 to get in a skirmish like that and ruin your chances. This is going to become a 3-way fight.
And Josh Bethune was looking very opportunistic there in the number 32 car, the Reikart's car. Zach Blinko is also there in the fight. So this fight for second, it's starting to get aggressive.
This is awesome. It's all playing into Chris White Jr.'s hands, though. He's got a lead of more than a second. The Pack and Save machines 1 and 2 at present. And Josh Bethune in there. This is a really good battle pack, and I think the Opie Constructions entry is entering the fray as well.
And AJ Giddy's done a great job as well, the young charger there in the number 10 car for Mackenzie Motorsport. He's moved up and behind his teammate Zach Blinko. Lee Zelltwanger's then got a bit of a gap to those guys in front. Cooper Barnes has dropped it off the road. As we see there, Simon Hunter and Harry Townsend. Harry Townsend went down the inside of Hunter there, the Hawke's Bay Bayswater driver. He didn't quite get that done. Mark Pilcher there watching on from M2 competition. Josh Bethune there in 4th place. We've got one running off the road a little bit there on the exit. That was AJ Giddy's, leaving no stone unturned, trying to pass his teammate Zach Blinko, but he's now had to go to the inside to defend from the Toyota 86 Trophy Series winner, Lee Zelltwanger.
When you talk about Mark Pilcher and M2 competition across a number of categories in New Zealand motorsport and indeed globally, haven't they been great at finding champions and helping to build them on the pathway? M2 competition, what they've done in recent years in the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Trophy, cannot wait to see what summer brings in that department for them.
Absolutely, and we see there AJ Giddy in the Opie Contractors car going quite defensive there. Lee Zelltwanger's looking all over the back of him. He's now trying to set up a move going down to turn 2, and he's up the inside, but there's not quite enough room for a GR86 to fit through there. Cooper Barnes just in behind those guys with Simon Hunter in the fight as well. Harry Townsend, Cormac Murphy looked like he was going for a move down the inside of Mac Templeton. Didn't quite pull it off, as we see there. Giddy, Zelltwanger, Barnes and Hunter. Massive fight going on here between those guys for that 6th place.
Really.
Barnes going down the inside of the 22. That was opportunistic, but it looks like he might pull it off.
Nice to have Barnes back involved in the series too. You only have to look back at Mount Panorama Bathurst in the Toyota GR86 Championship over there, and he was consistently running top 5 at the mountain just a few weeks ago. Nice to have him here in New Zealand.
Absolutely, and we see there now Harry Townsend going down the inside again of Simon Hunter. He's had a few stabs at that corner there, trying to go down past Simon Hunter. Simon Hunter, he's a previous New Zealand karting champion, very highly credentialed, and enjoying his time in the 86 series. As Harry Townsend gave him a bit of a tap there on the exit, as Hugo Allen's now been passed by Josh Bethune. Bethune's going to try to go around the outside of him. Allen's got the inside though. He's going to stamp his authority on that piece of tarmac, going around the final corner and up the straight. He's going to have the inside again for turn 1.
Look who's watching, waiting in the background there in the 90. That is Zach Blinko. He has got both of them in his sights. The 222 makes its way. Look at them, they're side by side. The Mad Butcher entry, that's the reigning champion. That is Hugo Allen, and he goes wheel to wheel with Bethune, but he takes it back now. Gets back into third. The right kart's entry should have a bit of better momentum off the exit of that corner. This is terrific.
Yeah, Bethune, it looks like he's going to get this done. He's got the inside, so the preferential line over Hugo Allen here, and he's going to be firing it down the inside. Allen actually managed to move over there, so Josh Bethune lost a little bit of ground on the entry there. Allen's done a beautiful job to pull it up and keep Zach Blinko at bay. As they come now into turn 3, Blinko going for a sniff, but he didn't quite have enough room up beside Hugo Allen there, as we now see Arthur Braun, Hugo Allen, Zach Blinko, Josh Bethune, AJ Giddy, Cooper Barnes, Lee Zelltwanger and Simon Hunter all coming around turn 4. Beautiful corner here at Hampton Downs. It goes for so long. Coming down towards the double B corner. We're riding with the champ again. Hugo Allen over the top there in the Mad Butcher car.
A little bit of patience has actually worked for Zach Blinko there, while the other two had the elbows out and they were fighting over third place. Once they came through 1 and ran down to 2, he found himself in a really nice position, so he's picked up a place in the process there. Now we're hearing it might be a jump start on the second row of the grid. So is it Braun or the right kart's entry there? Oh, we're hearing, sorry, from Motorsport New Zealand Race Control that the question mark is over Hugo Allen, possibly. We're putting a question mark on that for you. We'll get confirmation from Race Control. The allegation, a possible jump start.
And unfortunately, if that is true, it's not how you want to be defending a championship in the first race. But Hugo, he's a wily operator. He's already won one of these championships. He knows how to do it, and he's going to push on to try and do it again as we ride there again with the Mad Butcher car. He's coming across the line in third place. Chris White Jr. has driven away with this so far. He's 1.2 seconds to the tune of Arthur Braun, with Hugo Allen there in third place. Zach Blinko doing a great job there in fourth, with Josh Bethune in fifth. There we see the Tony Quinn Foundation winner Lucas McGill as we got a few off the road.
It's getting, the tempo's being turned up in the background there. So Lee Zelltwanger, I think, is going to absolutely profit from that.
And it's looking like we may actually have a jump start investigation for both P1 and P2 off the grid there. So wow. Chris White Jr., our race leader, and Hugo Allen, our second grid position starter, both of them are under investigation for jumping the start. So either they had the best start of their lives, or they may be looking at a penalty, unfortunately.
Hearing from, just to update on what Ronan has alluded to there, 5-second penalty for Hugo Allen. And White Jr., I think, is still being looked at, being reviewed. So we've got the little replay happening there for you.
It's very hard to tell, but the lights are still on. Oh, yeah, that's cat-like reactions. I can't really even call that one. You need to look at it. We'll have to have a look at it closer and wait and see.
Our box is right beside Motorsport New Zealand Race Control. It's a really good setup in there too. Good people. Should point out that Rowan Shepherd, former champion in this class, is in there in a driving standards capacity too, isn't he?
Absolutely. And what whether or not that is a penalty, it's not affecting Chris White Jr.'s speed or his control over this race. He's currently 1.2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, and he's driving away with it, controlling the gap to Arthur Braun there in second.
In that moment, really, you've just got to put that stuff out of your mind, press on and let it be dealt with. I mean, there's just no point, is there?
Absolutely, and as we see there going to turn 1, Josh Bethune's actually dropped back into 5th, and he's lost a bit of time there to the top 3, so Hugo Allen's managed to break away from both Josh Bethune and Zach Blinko. AJ Giddy's doing a great job there to stay with these guys in 6th, but the top 3 have started to break away. And if anything, that gap to Chris White Jr. between Arthur Braun and Hugo Allen has actually decreased a bit.
How beneficial are those opening laps? If you can be brave enough with the pressures at a certain level, knowing they'll come up to the ideal number, maybe in the latter part of the race, if you can be brave on that cold rubber, it works to your advantage, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what Chris did. He took advantage of it, drove away, clear track ahead of him, and he managed to pull that gap and really start to wind the wick up on that awesome little 88 GR86. Arthur Braun there in second. He's done a great job to pull about half a second in the last lap out of Chris White Jr. and Hugo Allen still there in third. But as we know, both the race leader, Chris White Jr. and our reigning champ Hugo Allen are both under investigation for a jump start.
Allen's got a very experienced kind of engineer and car preparer in Todd Bickerton in his corner. You know, if they can put a case forward to defend that, I guess they will. We've already heard what City Hall has done in terms of a penalty, and the person who stands to kind of benefit with a good crew around him advising him. What about Arthur Braun? He's got Caleb Nartoa doing some data work this weekend. Johnny Mack in that kind of radio come driver coaching capacity. That's clever stuff.
Yeah, there's no shortage of talent there in the 222 car. Arthur Braun, he's obviously got experience in world karting, and his qualifying lap this morning was absolutely stellar. To be a 10th and a half ahead of the reigning champ and the rest of the field was seriously impressive. His second lap wasn't quite as good, and that's what pushed him back to third for the grid for this first race. But tomorrow afternoon, he's going to be sitting on that pole position, and clearly there's no shortage of speed in the 222 as he's looking up the inside of Chris White Jr. So both him and Hugo Allen have managed to. What a bit of racecraft there from Hugo Allen to dart across the track like that right at the end, and he definitely caught Arthur Braun there by surprise, who's had to run on the defensive.
A little bit of bodywork underneath the sort of in the front splitter region or something there you can see underneath Arthur Braun's car. Doesn't seem to be slowing him up. That was a karting-style dive bomb from the reigning champion in Hugo Allen there before, with time fast running out in this race. All of a sudden, Braun's got to look in the rearview mirror here. Keep one eye on the Mad Butcher entry, but he's trying to focus on White as well. Terrific racing up the front in this class. Then a gap back to Bethune, Zach Blinko and AJ Giddy, that next group.
And if anything, that the battling between Hugo Allen and Arthur Braun has helped Chris White Jr. As we watch here, Hugo's going to try and do the crisscross here. He's not quite made it work. He's now going to try to go around the outside of Arthur Braun, but great bit of racing between these two guys for that second place on the podium. We see there, this has really helped Chris White Jr. He's managed to extend that gap again. He was under pressure at the start of this lap. Arthur Braun now having to run the defensive line going down to the last corner to keep Hugo Allen at bay.
Well, last year's Rookie of the Year, who made a huge impression at the front of the field. There's a question mark over the start at the moment, but he's got one lap to go, basically. Last lap board now on display for White Jr. Braun keeps that car centre of the track. It's not the ideal line for turn one, but he's trying to fend off Hugo Allen. Allen doing something unique in this class. It's not as though it hasn't been done before, but it's a very rare thing, defending the championship. Not many have done that. Many have often taken the wonderful prize pool that Toyota put together and then use it for the next step in their career. He's doing something really cool here, trying to go back to back. Yeah,
and he would be only the second driver in the history of this championship to be able to do that. And the irony of all of that is it's actually the driving standards observer for this class, Rowan Shepard, who was the first and the only driver to have done that, to go win multiple championships too. He went back to back, and in the previous generation car. So Hugo would be joining a very short list of racing drivers who have managed to achieve that. And he's still all over the back of Arthur Braun here. Braun's starting to just hold him up a little bit. Maybe his car started to go off a bit. They've actually managed to stay very close to Chris White Jr. So Hugo Allen seems to have, of everyone at the moment on the track, he seems to have the speed.
Only a couple of corners remain here. Can these two find a little something and shut down that 0.6 of a second advantage to Chris White? Braun again defending, keeps it mid-track. The ideal or the quicker line maybe suiting Hugo Allen here. If he can get a nice run through the final corner, that could set Allen up for a good run to the flag. Look at him left and right here. The car dancing as he fires it into the right-hander.
He actually hadn't made up his mind of which way he was going to go. He was going to try and go the inside and try and sell the dummy to Arthur Braun, but you got to get up pretty early in the morning if you want to fool Arthur Braun there. And Chris White Jr. is going to take the win.
Checkered flag waves. He'll greet that first, but a little question mark. Nice start, though, for White Jr. Braun home second in the end from Hugo Allen. Bit to unpack from that race. And I think that might hopefully entice a few more to come and play over summer. We've got a month or two before we regroup back here, in fact, for the next round of the series. And if we're going to get close action like that, come and play. That'd be quite good fun.
And that was an excellent start to this championship. Nice and clean, hard racing. lots of racecraft on display, and what a great finish there between the top three. It went right down to the wire there for that second place between Arthur Braun and our reigning champion, Hugo Allen. As we take a look at the results, so the provisional race results, Chris White Jr. took the win in the 88 car, followed by Arthur Braun there. In the 222, our reigning champion, Hugo Allen, in third there provisionally. Josh Bethune there in fourth, Zach Blinko fifth, AJ Gideon sixth, Lee Zaltwanger there in seventh, Cooper Barnes in eighth, Simon Hunter in ninth, and Harry Townsend rounding out the top 10.
So just to update you here, the penalty has been or will be applied to what you see on screen here at the moment for Hugo Allen. That moves Josh Bethune up into third. And in theory, I think they'll send him into to our victory lane area, our Bridgestone GR86 Championship victory lane area, in order to celebrate that. We don't have the clarity yet on White Jr. Highlights for you. First race of the year, Bridgestone GR86, and they had some eagle eyes in Motorsport New Zealand race control with some potential jump starts. As they went into turn one for the first time, Chris White Jr., Rookie of the Year last year, led them away.
He stretched out quite a big lead by after those first 3 or 4 laps. Rusty, as we see there, Hugo Allen and Arthur Braun went at it, and this setup of a pass by Arthur Braun was absolutely brilliant. We see there Cooper Barnes and Lee Zaltwanger having a great battle there, the Kiwi Tarp car that Hugo Allen was driving last year. Chris White Jr. came across the line, still with a big lead, and then we saw Arthur Braun actually attack Chris White Jr. about halfway through that race, and Hugo Allen was waiting in the wings, and this setup of a pass was brilliant by Hugo. Didn't quite pull it off. Coming over there, the Porsche dipper tried to go around, hang around the outside again here on the final lap. Hugo Allen in the Mad Butcher car, but Chris White Jr. took the spoils of race one for the Bridgestone GR86 Championship.
So that is too close to call, we're being told at the moment by Motorsport New Zealand Race Control. It will be investigated post-race when they have access to a little bit more information. So this is provisional, but he's in. Allied Petroleum victory lane at the moment. Arthur Braun pulling up there at the moment. And as we detailed before there too, so Josh Bethune, because that penalty has already been adjudicated on, been decided on for Hugo Allen, that means Josh can take a rightful third place in victory lane there at the end of the first race of Bridgestone GR86. Wow. Good team battle that's going to unfold over summer too, isn't it? Some very good outfits in this class.
Yeah, and the thing you got to keep out for as well, it's quite actually hard to tell the difference between Chris White Jr. and Arthur Braun's cars. They're both sponsored by Pack and Save, but run by different teams. Obviously, the 88 car there of Chris White Jr. run by Neil Motorsport, and the 222 run by Mackenzie.
Let's take you there now. Here's Andrew.
Thanks, guys. Chris White Jr. taking out the race win for that one. Worked pretty hard for that. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, it's a good way to start the season, obviously. Like the whole Neil Motorsport crew have put a lot of work into me and Mac, so it's good to be able to come here and get the first race win of the season. Big shout out to Arthur. He was hunting me down that entire race, and he obviously had a lot of race pace, so it was quite good to be able to stay ahead of them. So we learnt lots in that one, so at least we can take all that information forward for tomorrow's race.
And there's a lot of talk and investigation around a jump start. You feel you did that?
To be honest, I didn't actually know. I just sort of thought I saw the lights go out and went for it, but Hugo did. I think he jumped the start, so I may have hesitated there a little bit, but either or, can't complain. Like, we know we've got a semi-fast car or a fast car, so at least we're in a good spot.
Congratulations, obviously starting off the pole tomorrow. So we'll move on to the podium and hand out the presentation. So in third place for this first one of the season, first race of the season, Josh Bethune. Trophies given out by Frau Peter, the wholesale manager of Auckland Bridgestone. And in second place, Arthur Braun. Great job by him. And in first place, Chris White Jr. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your podium for race number one of the Toyota 86 Championship.
Continue the story here at Hampton Downs, all as a part of the Alliance Services. Hampton Downs GT International. We go from GR86 to some thumping, some stonking V8s. The SP Tools TA2 NZ Championship, race one of the weekend here, and Ronan, hasn't the entry list, the volume of competitors, the interest in this class just swelled in recent months?
Yeah, and how cool is this to see back in New Zealand a premier V8 category? We've got some awesome young chargers out there off the front row. Dylan Grant and Caleb Byers are leading us away, the number 20 car in the 33, followed by Clay Osborne, who's fresh off racing Australian Carrera Cup on the Gold Coast. Peter Ward, what a job he did to put that car P4 there in the Camaro. We look further down, P7 there, Toby Almaga in the 74, Leo Bolt in the 98, Jamie McDonald, ex-sprint car racer there in P9, Reece Gould off P10. Elton Wickman there in P11 and Andrew Turner off P12.